If you heard Doug Tallamy yesterday, or if you've heard him before, you know that he has said by including native plants in our gardens, we can create life. And by using non-native plants, we can prevent it. And by now, I'm sure you're dying to know what our own local keystone species are and what are the best plants to include in your own gardens. If you're just joining us now, this is a talk, it's a follow-up to Doug Tallamy's talk about the special importance of certain native plants to wildlife. Doug Tallamy calls these keystone plants because they hold the ecosystem together. To learn more about this, I hope you'll visit the Bringing Back the Native Garden Tours YouTube channel, and a Doug Tallamy talk is pinned to the top, and you can hear more about why he's recommending these certain plants. So this is pink flowering currant. It flourishes in shady areas. It's a tall, deciduous shrub with long, showy pink flower clusters that cover the plant from January to March. Birds enjoy the berries. It has a beautiful scent. Good companion plants are huckleberry and ocean spray, both of which you'll see in a bit, as well as coffeeberry, toyon, snowberry, and columbine, and 122 species of lepidopterans, which is the shortcut for butterflies and moths, can lay eggs on this plant. This is huckleberry. It's a long-lived evergreen shrub that bears berries that are enjoyed by people and birds alike. This is a good companion plant to the pink flowering currant that we just saw. Other companion plants are shade-tolerant manzanitas, such as the woolly leaf manzanita, the glossy leaf manzanita, the redwood manzanita, and yerba buena. And 106 species of butterflies and moths can lay eggs on this plant. Wild rose is a fast-growing, tall shrub with fragrant flowers that bloom in the spring and summer. The hips can be used to make tea. Wild rose is a versatile plant. It can be grown in full sun, part shade, or full shade. It's a fast grower, it spreads, and it has thorns if you need a barrier plant. And 95 species of lepidopterans can lay eggs on our California rose. This is Manzanita uva ursae point rays. It's a prostrate manzanita. It's a great ground cover because it's just between 2 and 5 inches tall, but it'll spread to 10 feet wide. Great companion plants are Manzanita point rays and 2 of our California lilacs, the mountain lilac and the low blue blossom lilac, and 68 species of butterflies and moths can lay eggs on this plant. Ocean spray, which is also called cream bush, has cascading clusters of fragrant white flowers that give the plant its 2 common names. This is a nice replacement for baby's breath in bouquets, and 75 species of lepidopterans can lay eggs on ocean spray. So these are some super versatile local native keystone species that can be placed in both sun or light shade. So there's strawberry. It's evergreen, Fragaria californica. It's a versatile ground cover. It will grow in full sun to part shade, and 58 species of butterflies and moths can lay eggs on it. This is a photo of our perennial native aster, and I love this picture in particular because it was taken in my own garden. I remember when that picture was taken, it was so beautiful. Our California native aster thrives in full sun to part shade. It's deer resistant. 53 species of butterflies and moths can lay eggs on it. And here's goldenrod. This is a showy yellow flowering perennial that blooms in the late summer to fall. Good companion plants are sages, wild rose, penstemon, and yarrow. 55 species of butterflies and moths can lay eggs on it. California honeysuckle is a climbing deciduous vine with large pink flowers that attract hummingbirds and red berries that attract other birds. This deer-resistant plant goes well with snowberry, hummingbird sage, toyon, oaks, and more. This is a beautiful plant. I have it in my yard, and actually I started it from cuttings that I took from a plant that I found in the wild. So You might be thinking of yours. Well, here are photos of commonly used non-native ornamental plants. There's cosmos on the left, hot lip sage on the right, lavender on the left, and pride of Madeira. And if you have these or other similar plants in your garden, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I have a lot of non-native ornamentals in my garden, and the butterflies and bees love them. If you've heard Doug Tallamy speak, you know that butterflies and moths can take nectar from many plants, but they can only lay their eggs on a very few species of plants. So the analogy that comes to my mind is, well, what if you and I could have all the free coffee at Starbucks that we wanted, but we couldn't reproduce? We would have a population crash also very quickly. The point is that non-native ornamentals do provide nectar and pollen. Particularly, they're good for our non-native honeybees, which come from Europe, but they have little value to butterflies and moths, our own local native butterflies and moths, when it comes to reproducing. So butterfly and moth populations are not limited by a lack of nectar, but rather because there are not enough of the right plants on which they can lay their eggs. And as a result, bird populations are reduced because there are not enough caterpillars with which they can feed their babies. And that's where we come in. So you've probably heard of Marie Kondo and her Does It Spark Joy method of decluttering a home. And I hope that after this talk and this weekend's presentation that you'll take a Marie Kondo look at your own garden and ask yourself, does this non-native ornamental give me joy? And if it does, then keep it. If a plant came from your mother or you especially love it, or it's a scent that you remember from your childhood, you should enjoy it. If it does not, then you might consider replacing those plants with California native plants that will provide food, shelter, and nesting areas for wildlife. So if you're wondering where you can buy native plants, you can check out the nonprofit Native Here Nursery in Berkeley. Local native plants provide the best habitat for our local wildlife. Native Here is run by volunteers. You can contact Native Here to see how you can join their knowledgeable team, learn about local California native plants for your own garden, and help Native Here achieve its mission of restoring local gardens and parklands. I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Native Here Nursery, your source for locally native plants in Alameda and Contra Costa counties, for supporting the tour. Native Here is an all-volunteer project of the California Native Plant Society's East Bay chapter, and it's dedicated to growing plants from ethically collected seed and cuttings from Alameda counties. You can visit Native Here online at nativeherenursery.org for information about gardening with locally native plants, ordering plants for curbside pickup if you'd like to do that, or to find out the hours when you can shop in person. If you have questions or if you'd like to volunteer, you can send a note through the website or call 510-549-0211.